Okay, hello everyone and welcome to our pre-departure weeks, to the first session for the pre-departure weeks for this year. Just to give you a short explanation again of what pre-departure weeks are, they're a series of online sessions to help you, students who have been admitted to Utrecht University, better prepare before you actually arrive here in Utrecht. It seems like the number of attendees are pretty stable, so let's get started. So today's session is a session titled Student Stories, Why Utrecht University. Through this session, we will have some of our current international students talk to you about what factors they took into consideration when choosing where they will go to do either their bachelor's or their master's degree. Now that you have been admitted to Utrecht University, you might still be in the phase of making the decision of where you want to go. And it's important, of course, that you make the right decision for yourself. And so hopefully by listening to the factors that some of our current students took into account and hearing their experiences, you might be able to figure out better whether this is the right place for you. So the structure of the event today. We will start with an interview with two of our current students who I will introduce in a second. During this time, you can also send us questions you have about choosing Utrecht University in the chat. Keep in mind the session is not about topics like housing or application. So if you have questions about these topics, tune in for some of our events coming up later this month and next month. After the short interview, we will also pick out some of the questions that you have sent us via chat and answer them live. If you have any technical issues, you can also put that in our chat, and our chat moderators will keep an eye out and inform us about it. Yeah, I think that's all the background information. So let's get started then with the session. I will be joined by two co-presenters, Andressa and David. So I want to ask maybe first Andressa to introduce herself and then David.
Hi everyone, I'm Andressa, I'm Brazilian, and I'm finishing a master's degree in law and economics.
Great. David now.
Hi everyone, I'm David from Germany. I'm 20 years old and I started studying at Utrecht University last year in the Politics, Philosophy and Economics program.
Okay, great. Let's get started then with our first question, which is, starting right from the top, since this is specifically for international students and both of you as well are international students. And you decided to, of course, move from your home countries to the Netherlands to study abroad. What for you were maybe some of the main reasons why you decided to actually study abroad? David?
Yes, so I've spent a year abroad in America during my high school, and during that time I realized that I would also like to pursue my university career basically abroad. So at first I looked into countries more far away like China, but then with the pandemic I had to kind of stay in Europe. So the Netherlands was the next best choice basically, because they offer a good quality of education. It's close enough to Germany, I guess. So yeah, that was why I decided to study abroad.
Okay, great. Then moving to Andressa.
Yeah, for me, I've just finished my graduation and then I had the dream to go abroad to have a master's degree. And then I searched for a few countries, and then I liked Netherlands because of the education quality. And then I came, and then I applied for three universities, and I chose one. And then it was as well together with a desire that I had to start my international career. This was also part of my decision.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I think that a lot of people might be having the same thoughts, so that's nice to for them to know as well. Then continuing with the next question and starting with you, Andressa. You mentioned already, of course, that once you decided to study abroad, you did look at different places where you could study and different universities. In the end, of course, you chose to study at Utrecht University, and a lot of people might be in the same position you were now. What were the main factors that contributed to this decision for you?
Yes, so yeah, I applied for Utrecht University as well to Radboud University and University of Amsterdam. I got a green light from all of those three universities, but then I thought Radboud was too far, and then I thought Amsterdam is too expensive. And then I came to Utrecht before, and then I really like the city because it's quite charming and it's small but not too small, and it's cheaper than Amsterdam, but at the same time close to Amsterdam. It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes by metro. And then it also has like the main train station in Netherlands. It's here, which allow you to travel around the Europe very easy and cheap. And because as well of the Utrecht reputation, because I liked a lot my program, like compared with the other programs I chose, I liked more this one because it connects law and economics, and then I thought it was quite interesting. And then and then I put all of this together, and then I ended up here.
Yeah, thank you. That's I think that's really useful to know. I think indeed choosing a study is a big decision, and there are a lot of maybe smaller factors that eventually contribute to the final decision. So it's nice to know your thought process and how you came to this decision. Of course, in your case, you were choosing a master's program, so it might also be interesting to hear from David choosing a bachelor's program. What then were the factors that you considered when you decided that you would study at Utrecht University?
For me, it just started out with some research online, basically. So I stumbled across the university's Instagram page and saw that the city looked really nice. And then I looked more into the university and was like, oh, this is also a really nice university. And it offers the program that I do want to study. So that was one of the biggest contributing factors, that it offers this program that is not yet really popular around the world. So I guess that's kind of like the reputation. It's also one of the best universities in the Netherlands, or it is the best in the Netherlands and one of the best in Europe. So given that factor, it wasn't a hard decision to make to come to Utrecht.
Okay, great. Nice to hear your experience as well. I think again, indeed, we put some of these factors on the screen that I think are also, some of the factors that both of you mentioned as well. And I think particularly as an international student, you do look at different things: costs, reputation, the exact program, the city, and in the end, you make a decision where all of these factors are going to make sense for you. Thank you for sharing your input on this. Then moving on, both of you did mention that the city of Utrecht was something that also called out to you and kind of contributed to your decision to study here. So can you tell us a bit about what about the city made you want to come here, or what you find nice in terms of being a student here now? Let's start with David.
Yes, so Utrecht is, as you can see on the pictures, it's a really nice city. Not only because it looks nice, but also because there are so many activities that you can do here. So, of course, when I first looked into it, I already mentioned I saw the Instagram page of Utrecht University and I saw how nice it looked, and I could immediately see myself living there. And now that I live here, I always feel like it's this big city because many people live here, but it still has this small town feel due to the smaller houses, and that makes it for me really enjoyable because it is busy, which I enjoy, but it has also like those calm parts of Utrecht, where you can just take a break, relax, have a drink with friends. Um, and what makes it enjoyable to live here is everything that's going on. So it's a student city. There's something going on every day of the week. You can go out to drinks with friends. You can have different activities. You can go, for example, as you can see on the picture on the right, you can take a boat on the canals. You can do stand-up paddling. There are so many opportunities here. So especially in summer, it will never get boring.
Great, thank you. Moving then to Andresa.
No, yeah, I had the same perception as David. I would just add that there is a sport place called Olympicus from the university that if you're into sports, you can find anything you can imagine there, and it's really cool. And yeah, and everything Dave already said.
Yeah, great. Then continuing with your input, of course, you spoke about the factors that led you to coming to Utrecht and choosing Utrecht University, and now you've been a student for some time here. So I wanted to hear what has your experience at the UU been like so far? What are the things you have enjoyed, and maybe even things you didn't enjoy? I think it's always nice to hear the experiences of current students in a real way.
Yeah, I have to say that I really like Utrecht University. I had a very good experience. At the beginning, I was a bit lost because the methodology, everything is very different from what I was used for. But then I felt like the professors and everyone were really open, like to explain to me, to understand my situation, and then everything were good. For the first 6 months is hard in my program, at least the first 6 months is hard. You have to study hard, and then the last 6 months it's a bit more soft, and you have time to do more things, and as well looking for a job if you want. What I like the most here regarding the methodology is that the classes are divided into seminars and lectures, and then I think that's cool because it gives you the opportunity to talk about to have learned in the lecture, and then it fits better in your brain somehow. And yeah, what I didn't like, if I have to point one thing, is that the locations change a lot. So you have to, at least for my course, then you have to always check in the app where the class gonna be, because it may change, and you're like, and then you go to the wrong place, and then you're like, oh my god, what it is. So always check your app.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for your input. Speaking about something you mentioned as well about study culture, and of course how that can differ based on where you came from. We will be doing a session next week as well, specifically about study culture. So to everyone watching, if you want to find out a bit more about the study culture at Utrecht University, please join the session. Thank you, Andresa. Then moving to David, how has your experience been like so far?
So I can only agree what Andresa said about the support that the university offers. So I came here during the height of the COVID pandemic, basically, and there was always support from the university in case something was wrong, in case you got sick, in case some of your classmates got sick. So they have always been really supportive, but not only with like the pandemic, also when you're struggling with your studies, you always have someone to turn to. There are study advisors who can help you out in case anything is wrong. And besides that, I have enjoyed my time here at Utrecht at Utrecht University so far. because I meet so many nice new people. It's such an international environment. So I really cannot complain about anything, basically.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, super nice hearing both of your experiences. And to have a final question before we move to questions from the audience. We spoke already quite a lot about Utrecht, but just to round off, how has living in Utrecht been like so far for you?
So I came here in the summer, and in the summer it was really nice because you had so many activities going on. And then, well, the winter kind of hit, but it was not a real winter. It was more like raining all the time. So there was not much to do outside of university, basically. So I spent a lot of time studying. But now, in the last couple of days and weeks, it has gotten a lot warmer. So living in Utrecht has become more enjoyable again, to me personally, at least.
Yes, I really understand that. I think the Netherlands is a different place when the sun is shining. Thank you. Then moving to Andresa, how has living in Utrecht been like so far for you?
Yeah, that's exactly what they've said. I used to say that Utrecht is a perfect place except for the weather, but but now has been a very good weather. So okay, from October to January or maybe February is a bit harsh. So we're going to study a lot, but as well the university is going to be harder. It's okay, you're going to be more time indoors, and then afterwards the sunshine rise, and then everything is nice. You want to go outside, you want to cycle around, get to know the city, get to know the everything, go to bars, meet up with friends, and as well university is going to be easier, so you have time to do that. So it's going to be great.
Okay, great. Thank you both. Yeah, I hope that through these questions you heard some information on why our current students in the end decided to come to Utrecht, study at our university, and also what the experience has been like so far. We're going to move now to answering some of your questions. So let's see what kind of questions we have. If you have questions that you would like Andresa or David to answer, let us know in the chat and we will then answer them. Okay. Okay, let's start with a question about studying at Utrecht so far. So what are the most challenging things you've encountered during your study at Utrecht so far? Do either one of you want to answer this, David or Andresa?
I can say something about that.
Okay, let me put you on the screen.
So just to clarify, it was like challenges that I faced within my study?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for me personally is that I expected different things from my study. So I just wasn't prepared enough. So what I maybe recommend to new people is really read up about your studies, what you're gonna study. For me, it was more like a last minute decision to come here. So now it was just something that I had to deal with, that some courses are not as interesting as others maybe, but that's not because the course itself is not interesting. It's just that I personally don't find it interesting. So that was my biggest challenge, just motivating myself to actually do something for courses that I find less interesting than others. But in the end, when you speak with your study advisor, for example, you always find a solution to that. And if it's one course that you don't like and 8 other courses that you really enjoy, then it's really not that bad.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Then moving to the next question, which is about your schedule and whether you have time to maybe have a part-time job. Andressa, do you want to talk about this bit in your experience, at least from your program? Would you say that you could have the time to have a part-time job while studying a master's?
Yeah. So I actually started to apply for jobs just from February, which I got 2 offers, and then I chose one that I'm gonna start actually tomorrow.
Okay.
And yeah, this is a 24 hours job per week for student position. So yeah, it's for my program, especially for the from now to my graduation, which is in August. It's really possible to do the 2 of them at the same time. But in the first semester, you can, depending on how much effort you want to put into the university, because it's a bit hard, because there are exams, you need to study more, there are seminars. Now in the last season, let's say like that, it's less things to do, doesn't have exams, so it's a bit more okay to work. But at the beginning, I think is a bit hard, but like depending on the person, they can maybe do it.
Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing your experience. I think indeed what you said is super true. It does depend a bit, of course, on your program and how much time you require, and also on you personally based on how many hours you need to study. But yeah, I think as a norm, I think a lot of students do typically, have a part-time job while they're studying, whether that is right at the start or whether that's a few months in once you're more settled in, of course, depends also a bit on you. But the possibility is there. Then moving to the next question, talking a bit about facilities. So merging 2 questions, are there sports available for students? And does the UU also have libraries or study spots? I don't know if either one of you want to answer this.
Yeah, I can say something about that. So there are different sports facilities. Andressa already mentioned the Olympus, where you can do all kinds of sports. I believe like badminton, basketball. They also have a pool, I believe, or at least there's something where you can get a pool subscription. And there are also student organizations that are into like the sport area, so that's definitely possible. And then about general facilities like library. So the university has 2 big libraries, one in the city center and one on campus, which we call the Science Park. So they include, of course, books, but then also study spaces for groups, for individuals. You have quiet study spaces. You have some with PCs, some without PCs. So there are definitely many spaces available, and the university is well equipped.
Great. You are also in a study spot at the moment, so yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I'm at Science Park right now because I will have to write a paper today.
Okay, great. Then moving on, I see some more questions about sort of the academic year and what that looks like. As I mentioned, we'll be doing a session next week about that, so tune in for that. Then I see a question specifically about biking in the Netherlands. So is it worth it to get a bike, and would you say that it's safe and easy to bike around Utrecht? I see Andressa smiling. Do you want to answer this?
Yeah, I can. Now you have to buy a bike. It's a must, because, as I said, the locations may change. So maybe you go to the university, to the campus that's like 5 minutes from your home, but you can go to a campus that's 30 minutes from your home. So you need to have a university as well to go to visit friends, etc. Go around Utrecht. So the bicycle is a must. You can find a very cheap bicycle at Marketplace. So you can buy like second-hand bicycle. I bought mine for 50 euros. And yeah.
Yeah.
need a bicycle.
Great. Indeed, Utrecht is a very bicycle-friendly city. So in that sense, the most convenient way of commuting across the city would be biking. Also because our campuses are located fairly close to each other. So one in the science park, one in the city center, and one in between. And they have a travel time of around 10 to 15 minutes between the different campuses by bike. But in the case, of course, that you really don't enjoy biking, it is possible to use public transport. But as Andressa mentioned, probably the most convenient way is to bike, but there is an option of not doing that. And in terms of safety, yes, I'd say it's pretty safe. The Netherlands has really good cycling infrastructure, but it's important as an international that you do kind of learn the basic street rules and things like that. But they're quite easy to find out. Moving on, I see a question about how you can find your prospective classmates before the start of your course. Is there some kind of portal or application? Yes, there is an application for this. It's called Go In, and you will receive more information once you have been admitted. You will receive an email in a couple of weeks with the details of how you can log on to this app. And once you're in the app, you can meet a lot of other current admitted students. There is a group specifically for admitted students, and you can meet them before you start your course. Okay, then I see another question about the sort of environment at the UU. So is the international environment friendly and accepting at Utrecht University? Do one of you want to answer this?
Of course. So I study a really international program. So we have people from many different nationalities. And Dutch people are actually the exception in my program, which is not to say that there are no Dutch people at Utrecht University. It highly depends on your program, whether there's like a 50-50 ratio or different settings. But personally, I have found that international people here are so accepting. You will always have a community you can turn to, and there's probably someone from your country that will help you guide your way through the Netherlands. I don't have any bad experience with people not being accepting or excluding you for being a certain nationality.
Okay, great. I see some more questions about student associations and also about accommodation. We will be doing sessions about that coming up this month. So we will have a session on housing, and next month we will also do a more special session on student life, including student associations. So stay tuned for that. We only have a couple minutes left, so we will answer one final question, which is, what is the best advice you could give someone who is going to start their higher education at Utrecht? David or Andressa?
Sorry, can you repeat? I just don't know.
What is the best advice you could give someone who's going to start their higher education in Utrecht, at Utrecht University?
Well, I would say just come, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna have the best experience of your life. You're gonna be a completely different person after your experience. You're gonna have more experience, right? You're gonna be smarter because you're gonna learn a lot of new things from the university. And I'm pretty sure just come with a big smile in your face, with a good luggage, with winter coats. When you arrive here, buy a bicycle or rent. It's also a possibility. And rent your place before. Start to look into it now. It's hard to find place here. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have fun and you're going to enjoy your trip a lot.
Okay, great. then yeah, that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you to our chat moderators to help answer a lot of your questions in the chat. We will still take some time after closing the session to answer some of them, so you can still find the answers in the chat. Thank you, of course, to David and Andresa for sharing your experiences. And thank you to all of you for joining the session. As I mentioned, we will have more sessions in the coming months, so stay tuned and make sure to join them as well. Thank you.